Hey, Kinder families, we are going to get ready for our very first math lesson. I'm so excited. Before we get started, I want to talk to you about the things that you will need for this lesson. So the very first thing that you will need is your math book. And grown-ups, you guys picked this up when you picked up your child's iPad, so it should have come with that. Not it should have, it did. So that's what you are going to need for the lesson to get started. So in the beginning of the book, there are several pages of resources and things that you could flip through. I'm not going to use any of it right now, but it is all very helpful. There are some flashcards in there you could read or cut out. There are some review pages. All very, very helpful stuff. We're not going to use that right now, but I encourage you to check it out at home. So the pages that you will need for today, and I encourage you to rip them out because the pages in this book are perforated. And if we were in school in person, Miss T and I would tear these pages out for the kiddos. So they would not work directly from the book. We would tear these pages out. So today we're going to work on lesson 1-1. That stands for topic 1, lesson 1. And it is in the book on pages 7, 9, and 11. So it looks like this. That very first page looks like this. It's got the big bird's nest on the front. And let me go ahead and get mine out of here. And you'll notice up in the corner, other corner, that it says lesson 1-1 up here, okay? And it is 3 pages long. So we've got the bird page, then we've got some worms that we're going to be counting, and then some bird's nests. And then the last page, you'll see up at the top, it says homework and practice, and we will talk about that page as well. Now, if we were working in the classroom, Miss Tia would be oh so kind to staple these for us. If you don't have a stapler at home, that's fine. If you do, I would recommend stapling that top left corner. It just makes it a little bit easier to work with, but no stapler, no problem. In fact, I'm working from home today. I don't have a stapler, so I'm not going to staple my pages. I'll just work on them one at a time. All right, so now I'm going to close my math book and set this aside so that nothing happens to it. It doesn't get lost, and then I'll be ready for my next lesson on the next day. So first thing I need is lesson 1-1 torn out of my book, and I'm going to set that aside. The next thing that you will need, Kinders, is a writing tool. And we'll talk about this before the beginning of every lesson. And sometimes you'll get to pick which tool you'll use to write with, and sometimes I will tell you which tool to use to write with. Today, you get to pick, and you can choose either a pencil or a crayon. I think it would be best to use a crayon if you can get one of those. You might already have some, or inside that white bag that Miss T and I dropped off, there were crayons inside that bag as well. Let's talk about crayon colors. All right, for math, sometimes I will say get a red crayon, and you have to get a red crayon. But sometimes you get to pick, and for today's lesson, you get to pick. But let's talk about colors that are good for math. A nice dark color is best, like green would be a good color to use for math. Purple would be a good color to use for math. Orange would be a good color to use for math, or red or blue. Some colors that are not so great for math would be yellow because it's really light and it doesn't show up very well. Or peach, same thing, it's pretty light and it doesn't show up very well. So I would like for you to use a nice dark color when we use crayons for math. You will only need one crayon, so make sure you pick just one and put it with your math paper. So now I've got my paper, I have my crayon, because that's what I'm choosing. You could use pencil today, but I think crayon would be better. So I have my paper, I have my crayon. The last thing you'll need for today's lesson is your little baggie of blocks. Do you remember working with these with Mrs. Barnard last week? Inside the white bag that I delivered was also a little baggie of these counting cubes, or these blocks. There's 20 of them in that bag, but you won't need that many today. But you could get that whole bag, set it in your pile of stuff. So we've got 3 materials for today's lesson: blocks, crayon, and our math paper. So those things are all sitting right next to me, so I'm ready to begin. Go ahead and get those things and come on back and come ready to listen to to the math lesson in our next video. All right, let's go.